Hello, I hope that everyone will be fine. Today's session is on basic switch and end device configuration. So I'm going to share the slides. So basic switch and end device configuration. Switch is a device which interconnects between router and PC. So switch comes with 24 ports, 48 ports, 128 ports. Like that switch comes. And end device configuration in networking, the devices which are at the end point, how to configure those devices. Next slide. So this module has the objective of implement initial setting including password, IP addressing and default parameters on a network switch and end devices. Default gateway parameters. So Cisco IOS access. It explains how to access the Cisco IOS device for configuration purposes. iOS navigation. It explains how to navigate Cisco iOS to configure network devices. The command structure. Describe the command structure of Cisco iOS software. Basic device configuration. How to configure Cisco iOS device using command line interface. Save configuration. How to save the configuration. Ports and addresses. Explain how devices communicate across the network media. Configure IP addressing. Configure your host device with IP address. Verify connectivity. How to verify the connectivity between two end devices. Cisco iOS access. So before going to Cisco iOS access, we should thorough understanding about operating system. In operating system, there are three main points are there. One is shell, kernel, and hardware. Shell is nothing but the user interface that allows user to request specific task from the computer. The request can be made either through command line interface or graphical user interfaces. Then next to kernel. Kernel communicates between the hardware and software of a computer and manages how hardware and resources are used to meet the software requirements. Hardware. The physical part of a computer including underlying electronics. Next. GUI. What is GUI stands for? GUI stands for graphical user interface. A GUI allows a user to interact with the system using an environment of graphical icons, menus, and windows. A GUI is more user friendly and requires less knowledge of the underlying command structure that controls the system. Example of these are Windows. Now Windows 10 are coming. Mac OS, Linux, KDE, Apple iOS, and Android. GUI can fail, crash, or simply not operate as specified. For these reasons, network devices are typically accessed through a command line interface. If GUI is being failed due to some reason, then command line interface is being used to rectify the problems. Purpose of an operating system. So personal computer operating system enables a user to do the following tasks: use a mouse to make selections and run programs, enter text and text-based commands. The CLI based network operating system enables a network technician to do the following: use a keyboard to run CLI based network programs, use a keyboard to enter text and text-based commands, view output on a monitor. So this is the difference between Windows and CLI based operating systems. Access methods. One is console, a physical management port used to access a device in order to provide maintenance, such as performing the initial configurations. Secure shell SSH establishes a secure remote CLI connection to a device through a virtual interface over a network. Telnet. Telnet basically used for remote login purpose. It establishes an insecure remote CLI connection to a device over the network. Terminal emulation programs. The terminal emulation programs are used to connect to a network device by either a console port or by an SSH or Telnet connection. There are several emulation programs to choose, such as PUTTY, Teraterm, and Secure CRT. So these are the terminal emulation programs: TCP/IP, Transmission Control Protocol, Internet Protocol. Telnet is there, SSH is there, other also there. iOS navigation. So what is mean by iOS navigation? So in iOS navigation, primary commands are user execution mode and privilege execution mode. In user execution mode, it allows access to only a limited number of basic monitoring commands like router, switch. Router followed by greater than symbol, and switch followed by greater than symbol. The symbol towards router, switch followed by this symbol. Privilege execution mode allows access to all commands and features. Identify the CLI prompt that ends with hash symbol. Router hash, switch hash. Navigation configuration mode and sub configuration. Global configuration mode. Global configuration mode used to access configuration option on the device. Switch config hash. Line configuration mode. Switch config -line hash used to access console, SSH, Telnet, or AUX access. Interface configuration mode used to configure a switch port or router interface. Switch config if hash. Navigation between iOS modes. Privilege execution mode. To move from user execution mode to privilege execution mode, use the enabled command like switch enable, then it will come to switch hash symbol. Then global configuration mode, switch config hash, then switch config hash exit, then we will exit from that. To move in and out of global configuration mode, use the configure terminal command. To return to the privilege execution mode, use the exit command. Line configuration mode. In line configuration mode, we will to go to switch config hash line console 0, then switch config, it will come to line -line hash exit, then we will exit from that. To move in and out of line configuration mode, use the line command followed by the management line type. To return to the global configuration mode, use the exit command. Navigation between iOS modes. Sub-configuration modes. To move out of any configuration mode to get back to global configuration mode, use the exit command. Here exit command is being used previously, we have used. To return to the previous execution mode, use the end command and key or shortcut key Control Z. Control Z is being used to come out from to exit from that commands. To move directly from one configuration mode to another type in the desired sub-configuration mode command. In the example, the command prompt changes from config line hash to config if hash. The command structure. So this is the basic command structure in case of switch. Switch, so IP protocols. Switch, this is the prompt. So is the command. Space is given between so and IP and protocol. Space is given. Keyword or argument is the protocols. So switch ping 192.168.10.5. This is a class C address basically. We are pinging this address, means we are getting some reply, whether reply is coming or not. Keyword, this is a specific parameter defined in the operating system in the figure IP protocols. Argument, this is not the predefined, it is the value or variable defined by the user in the figure 192.168.10.5. iOS command syntax check. How to check it? Convention is boldface, italic, cross within square brackets, cross within curly bracket. So there are some other methods are also being used. iOS command syntax check. Then continue to this. So ping IP address or trace out IP address. The command ping and the user defined argument is the IP address of the destination device. For example, ping 10.10.10.0, 5. We are pinging this address 10.10.10.5. This is class A address. The command is trace out and the user defined argument is the IP address of the device, destination device. For example, trace out 192.168.255.255. If a command is complex with the multiple arguments, you may see represented like this. Switch config if, switch port, security, aging, static, time, type, absolute, inactivity. iOS help features. So these are the different help features are there. Hotkeys and shortcuts. So router con, if you type con, ambiguous command con, router con question mark, configure connect. So if we type it is as configure terminal CONFT, then it is correct. Configure terminal. Enter configuration commands, one per line. End with Control Z. Shortcut key is the Control Z to come out from this commands. So router config hash is the basic command. Hotkeys are shortcuts. Control C. When any configuration mode ends with the configuration mode returns to privilege execution mode. Control Z when in any configuration mode ends the configuration mode and returns to the privilege execution mode. Control Shift 6 all purpose break sequence used to avoid DNS lookups, traceouts, ping, etc. So these are the shortcut keys we have discussed. Basic device configuration. So how to configure the switch? First, the first configuration command on any device should be to give it a unique host name. But by default, all devices are assigned a factory default name. For example, Cisco IOS switch is switch. Switch has configure terminal, switch, config, host name, ESW, -floor -1. This is the one switch name. It is given as in first floor. Switch 1 is present. So it will the name will change to SW-floor -1 config. So first, before starting any device, we need to rename it as per our convenience. Password guidelines. For security purpose, we need to give password. The use of weak or easily guessed password are a security concern. All the networking devices should limit administrative access by securing privilege execution, by user execution, and remote telnet access with passwords. In addition, all passwords should be encrypted and legal notification provided. Password guidelines use passwords that are more than 8 characters in length. This is the first point. Second point, use a combination of upper and lowercase letter, numbers, special characters, and or numeric sequences. Second point. Third point is avoid using the same password for all devices. Fourth, don't use the common word because they are easily guessed by anyone. So configure password. So first one is the renaming the switch. In the previous slide, we have seen how to rename it. Configure terminal, host name, switch, SW-floor-1, then SW-floor-1 config has. Then this third line from here, configure terminal, then configuration will start, line console 0, then password Cisco, login, end. This will be end. First, enter the console configuration mode using the line console 0 command in global configuration mode. Next, specify the execution mode password using password command. Finally, enable execution access using login command. Securing privilege execution mode. How to secure configure terminal. Enable secure class exit. First, enter global configuration mode. Next, use the enable secret password command. Securing VTY line access. First, enter the line VTY configuration mode using line VTY 015 command in the global configuration mode. Next, specify the VTY password using the password command. Finally, enable VTY access using the login command. So this is the configuration for password configuration. We are continuing with line VTY. Encrypt password. We can encrypt our password by configure terminal, service password encryption, exit. Then banner messages. A banner message is an important to warn unauthorized personnel from attempting to access the device. To create a banner message of the day on a network device, use the banner mode that is has the message of the day global configure mode. Like config terminal, switch hyphen floor hyphen 1 config terminal, switch hyphen floor hyphen 1 config banner mode has authorized access only asterisk has. The banner will display on attempts to access the device. Press return to get started. Authorized access only. User access verification. Password it will ask. Save configuration. How to save the configuration? There are two system files that store the device configuration: startup configuration, running configuration. There are two files that store the device configuration. First is startup configuration. This is the saved configuration file that is stored in NV RAM. It contains all the commands that will be used by the device upon the startup or reboot. Plus, does not lose its content when the device is powered off. Running configuration. This is stored in RAM, random access memory. It reflects the current configuration. Modifying a running configuration affects the operation of a Cisco device immediately. RAM is a volatile memory, so it loses all its content when the device is powered off or restarted. After the running configurations, save configuration first. How to save route? This is the router configuration. How we are saving? Capture configuration to a text file. This is the process how we can capture the configuration to a text file. Configure the file can also be saved and archived to a text document. Step 1, open terminal emulation software such as PUTTY or Teraton that is already connected to a switch. Second, step 2, enable logging to a terminal software and assign a name and file location to save the log file. The figure displays that all session output will be captured to the file specified. This figure, PUTTY configuration. So packet tracer. So what is basically a packet tracer is? Packet tracer is a simulation software of developed by Cisco systems, which where we can perform various simulation operations through command line interface or by GUI also, but mainly we perform through command line interface. Ports and addresses, IP addresses. So basically IP address is of two types: IP4, IPv6. IP4 is broadly divided into 5 major classes, that is class A, class B, class C, class D and class C. A, B, C, these three classes will be used for our general purposes, networking purposes, but D and U is being reserved for some research purpose. Whereas in case of class A, class B, class C, class D and class C, these are all 32 bits addresses, whereas class C IP version 6 is 128 bit. So these are the description. The use of IP addresses is the primary means of enabling devices to locate one another and establish end-to-end communication on the internet. The structure of IP4 address is called dotted decimal notation and is represented by 4 decimal numbers between 0 and 255. An IP4 subnet mask is a 32-bit value that differentiates the network portion of the address from the host portion. Coupled with the IP4 address, the subnet mask determines to which subnet the device is a member. The default gateway address is the IP address of the router that the host will use to access the remote networks, including the internet. Here, in this figure, all can observe that IP address is 192.168.1.10. Subnet mask is 258.258.258.0. This is class C address. Default gateway is 192.168.1.1, which is the router address, port address through which we can go out from that network. that is known as default gateway. So as I told, IPv6 is 128 bits in length and written as a string of hexadecimal values. Every 4 bits is represented by a single hexadecimal digit. For a total of 32 hexadecimal values, groups of 4 hexadecimal digits are separated by a colon. IPv6 addresses are very case sensitive and can be written in either lowercase or uppercase. This is an example of IPv6 addressing. Interfaces and ports. So these are the basic switches and different connectors are there, like copper connectors, fiber optic cables, wireless connectors are there. Network communication depend on end user device interfaces, networking device interfaces, and cables that connect them. Types of network media includes twisted pair copper cable, fiber optic cables, coaxial cables, and wireless. Different types of network media have different features and benefits. Some of the difference between various types of media include distance the media can successfully carry a signal, environment in which the media is to be installed, amount of data and the speed at which it must be transmitted, cost of the media, and installation. Configure IP addressing. How to configure IP addressing, Internet Protocol addressing. Manual IP address configuration for end devices. How manually we can do? We can go to manually to Internet Protocol version 4, TCP/IP version 4 properties. So for that we need dynamic for manual allocation. We end devices on the network need an IP address in order to communicate with the devices on the over the network. IP addresses informally can be entered into end device manually or automatically we can give by using DHCP, Dynamic Host Control Protocol. To manually give the IP address, what is the steps? Go to control panel, network sharing center, change adapter setting, choose the adapter. Next, right click and select properties to display the local area network properties. This is the panel, it will show. Next, click on properties to open the Internet Protocol version 4 TCP/IP version 4 properties window. Then configure IP4 address and subnet mask information and default gateways. Automatic IP address configuration for end devices. As I told, for automatic IP address configuration, we require the DHCP. DHCP enables automatic IP address configuration for every end device that is DHCP enabled. End devices are typically by a default using DHCP for automatic IP4 address configuration. So DHCP, how DHCP works? DHCP has some pool of IP addresses. When a device is connected to the DHCP server, that from that pool of IP addresses, DHCP assigns one address to that host for some least time basis. When the host will be switched off or powered off, at the time that address will be used by another system. In this way, DHCP works. Switch virtual interface configuration. To access the switch remotely, an IP address and subnet mask must be configured on the SVI switch virtual interface. To configure an SVI on a switch, enter the interface VLAN1 virtual LAN1 command in the global configuration mode. Next, assign the IP4 address using IP address subnet mask command. Finally, enable the virtual interface using the no shutdown command. So first we need to do switch config terminal, interface VLAN1, IP address 192.168.1.20 followed by its subnet mask 255.255.255.0. No shutdown. No shutdown because we need to switch on that switch port. That's why no shutdown. Verify connectivity. How to verify? So to verify the connectivity, we will use basically the ping command to verify the connectivity. So what did we learn in this module? Actually, basically all end device requirement and operating system. Please confirm that every device is required required an operating system, any operating system. Cisco IOS software separates management access into following two commands: user execution mode and privilege execution mode. Global configuration mode is access before other specific configuration mode. From global configuration mode, the user can enter different configuration modes. Each iOS command has a specific format or syntax and can be executed in the appropriate mode. Basic device configuration: host name, password, encrypted password, and banner. There are two system files that store the device configuration: startup config and running config. IP address enables devices to locate one another, establish end-to-end communication on the internet. Each end device on a network must be configured with an IP address. So from the Cisco packet tracer, what we are going to learn, I am going to show you what are there in Cisco packet tracer. This is the interface of Cisco packet tracer. So this is Cisco packet tracer version 6.3. It is available in Cisco websites and other websites also. We can easily download and install it in our Windows operating system. I'm using basically Windows operating system, so it is, I have already installed it. So these are the routers: 1841, 1941, 2620XM, 2621XM, 2811, 2901, 2911, 811. These are generic. These are the different router versions are available in the Cisco packet tracer. And switch 295024, 2950T, 2960 generic. Different switches are there. Then hops are there. Wireless devices are there. Power, these are the cables. Cables connectors are there. Then end devices are also there. Generic PCs. Then a printer, IP phone, UIP device, phone, TV, wireless tablet, smart device also there. Security region firewall also present. One emulation is present. Custom made devices also present. Multi-user connection also present. So I have taken 2811 router, one switch, 2960 24 port switch I have taken, and PC0 I have taken. Suppose I want to go to any switch, what I will do? Just click on that switch. I'll share the screen now. Let's share that router screen. This is the basic router screen. If it is, when we are want to put any port, we need to switch up this switch. We can put any port, we can fix it. Suppose we want any port, we can take and fix it here for serial purpose. There are two types of ports in router: serial port and gigabit Ethernet port. Basically, two types of ports are there, or fast Ethernet port. Three types of ports basically used. So For this purpose, I am using serial port here and switch on. If I go to command line interface, again I am sharing the screen. This is the command line interface of the router 0. Continue to configuration dialog, no. So this router greater than symbol came. So what we have discussed in the slides, this is how we can get it up to that. And in the next session I will show how to demonstrate, how to set the router ports, how to set IP addresses. Next session I will show. Now we are going to see the switch, how switch is working. I'm sharing the screen. This is the screen of switch. If I go to CLI, command line interface, I'm again sharing the command line interface of the screen. This is the command line interface of the screen. Just putting enter, we are going to that switch. Nothing has been connected, just simply I am showing the router, switch, and how what is there in PC. Now I'm sharing the PC. This is a PC, and it should be powered on. Now it is on, and we need to go to its custom desktop. If we go to desktop, I am sharing the screen. This is desktop, and in desktop IP configuration dialog, terminal, command prompt, web browser, PC wireless, VPN, traffic generator, MIB browser, Cisco IP communicator, email, PPP, OE, dialer, text editor, firewall, IPv6 firewall, net flow controller. Everything is there. IP configuration. Suppose we are going to for IP configuration. I have clicked on IP configuration. Let me share the screen. This is the IP configuration of PC. It is two types: DHCP and static, dynamic host control protocol, or static. If we are choosing static, then manually we need to give IP addresses and default gateway addresses. If we are going for DHCP, it will, and DHCP server will establish, then it will automatically choose from the pool of IP addresses. So thank you for joining this session. Thanks. Have a great day. Thank you.